Now that we have created teams and users, we need to create databases to be able to open other modules. To create a new database, in the Manage tab, click on the Database and Extract icon, and then click on the Create button. In the Open window, we have two options. To create a new database, select Master DB, and you also have the option to create an extract of an existing database. So for now, select Master DB and click OK. In the database creation window, you can see that there is a section named Owning Team. This is because in AVEVA E3D, every database is owned by a team. And if a user wants write access to that database, the user needs to be a member of that team as well. Please note that a user can be a member of multiple teams, but a database is only owned by one team. For the first database, I will start by creating the design database for the piping of Unit 100. So first, I will select the Pipe 1 team. Then you should assign a name to your database. I will name my database PI-100. You can also define a description for it, so it's easier for you to find the database you want in the list of databases. After that, you need to select the database type. There are different types of databases that are used by different modules of AVEVA E3D. The main database types are Design, which is used by the Model module, Catalog, which is used by the Paragon module, Property, which is used by the PropCon module, IsoDraft is used by the IsoDraft module, and Draft database type is used by the Draw module. Also, dictionary type databases are used by the Lexicon module. So I will select the design type database, as the database we are creating is for piping design. Also note that to be able to enter any module, you need to have at least one database with database type related to that module in your MDB. The next option, which is the element type, gives you the ability to create sites or other design element types directly from the admin module. This is especially useful when you have more than one design database and you want to be sure what database you are working on in the modeling module. In AVEVA Everything 3D, when you stand on the word hierarchy in model or other modules and you create something, it will be created on the database that is at the top of the list in your MDB. So if you create the site element here in the admin module, it will be easier for you to select which database you want to work on in the model software. To create a site in the admin module, define your site name in the create site section, and also if you don't want to create a site, leave it as unset. In the product section, you can select if your project is for AVEVA Marine or not. If you are working with older versions of AVEVA E3D or AVEVA PDMS, you will see that there is another option called Access Mode, and you can select between multi-write and update. In multi-write databases, multiple users can work on the same database at the same time. But in update databases, only one user can work on the database. And for example, if you have your catalog database as update database, if one user opens the Paragon module, no other user can open the Paragon module after that. This was good to have more control on the database and more control on who is working on the database. But this feature is removed from the newer versions of AVEVA E3D, and if you open a project which was created using an older version of AVEVA E3D and has update database in it, you will face a warning that says the support for update databases will be removed in the near future. So if you have update database in your project, it's better to change the access mode to multi-write so you won't face a problem using the newer versions of AVEVA E3D. Next, for multi-rate databases, you need to specify the claim method. In AVEVA E3D, when you want to modify something, you need to first claim it. This is to prevent more than one user to work on the same object at the same time. There are two claim methods, implicit claim and explicit claim. If your database uses implicit claim method, it will be automatically claimed by the user when the user tries to modify it. But if it is explicit claim, the user needs to first manually claim it, and then after that the user is able to make modification on something in the database. This is useful when you want to be sure that the user is aware they are making modification on the database and they are not doing it by mistake. I will create two databases, both with implicit and explicit claim methods, so you can see the difference later in the video. The control checkbox is for when you want to control a database using an external software, and the reference only checkbox is for external read-only databases that are usually used for standardized catalogs, for example, piping and cable trays. So I will keep both control and reference only sections unchecked. You can also set your database as protected. A protected database can only be used in this specific project and cannot be copied to another project. You have to set a password for your protected database, and you can also set an expiry date for it. For this database, I don't want it to be protected, so I will uncheck it. The area number section is for when you want to create this database in a different directory than the 000 folder. You can see that if I click on the system button, it shows me that this database will be created in the 000 directory. If I write another number in the area section, for example 200, I will face an error that the area 200 is not defined in the environable variables or the evars file. The area number should be between 1 and 999, and you can define a new area by adding the shown line on the screen to your evars file. Then you have to assign a number to your database. If you keep it set by system, it will assign the lowest available number to your database. There are some restrictions for the database number you can use. The database number should be unique, and you cannot use the same database number for different databases. Also, the database number should be between 1 and 7,000 or 10,000 to 250,000. The numbers between 7,000 and 10,000 is reserved for AVEVA solutions. Also, it's better to have some sort of naming convention for the database numbers in your project. For example, in this project, I will use the naming system shown on the screen. Now that I want to create a design database, I will use one for the first digit, and then for the second digit, I will use another one as it is for unit 100. Then for the third digit, I will use one as well because it's for the piping discipline. And for the sequence number, I use another one again. Finally, click OK and your database is created. Now I will create another design database for unit 100 to show you the difference between the implicit claim and explicit claim. I will continue by creating another design database for unit 200 and one catalog database. You can see that the name of the databases we have created is the name that we assigned, followed by the name of the team that we selected. Databases can have similar names, but the combination of team name and database name should be unique. Now that we have created the databases we needed, let's see what happens if we try to open the model module. I will type the username and password and click on the model module. You see that I face an error that MDB is not found. This is because we haven't created any MDB yet. To be able to open other modules other than the administration software, you need to first create an MDB. In AVEVA E3D software, to control what data a user can see, databases are grouped into multiple databases or MDBs. To create a new multiple database, in the Manage tab, click on the MDB icon. Then click on the Create button. In a project, you should have at least one MDB, and a database can be a member of multiple MDBs. An MDB must contain all the data that the user needs to access. For example, for a model user, the MDB must contain the catalog database and the model database on which the user is going to work on. You can create one MDB that contains all the data you need for the project, or create a separate MDB for each user. It depends on your approach and the size of the project. For this project, I will create an MDB that contains all the databases in the project, and I will name it all. So I select all the databases, and using this button in the insert section, I add them to the list of current databases. In AVEVA E3D, when you stand on the word hierarchy and create something, it will be created on the database that is the first in the list of current databases. You can reorder the databases in your MDB list. For example, I want the 1111 database to be at the top. So I select the database, and using this button, I defer this database, then click on the first database on the list and change the insert method to before. Then I click on this button to add the database to the list of current databases again. You can also reorder databases by removing them from the list of current databases and then adding them to the list again. Finally, click on the Apply button and your MDB is created. Close this window and you can see your MDB in the list of multiple databases. Now that we have created MDB, we can enter other modules like model. So I will save and close administration and open the model module. Before clicking on the model icon, make sure that your MDB is selected in the MDB section. Now from the Tools tab, click on the model icon to open the model hierarchy. You can see the sites we have created when creating the databases in the model hierarchy. Let's open the command window and check the database names. To query the database name of a site, I click on the site, and in the command window, I type QDB name. You can see that the name of the database is the team name followed by the name we gave it in the admin module. Let's check if we stand on the word hierarchy and create a new site, in which database the site will be created. Now, if I use the QDB name command, you can see that the site is created in the database that was on the top of the list in the MDB I used when opening the model module. But if I stand on another site and create a new site, You can see that the site will be created on the same database as the site I was standing on. Now let's stand on the PI200 and create a new site. You can see that I get an error that this is a read-only database and I cannot create a new site on this database. This is because I opened the model module using the user A, which was for the piping of unit 100 and doesn't have access to the databases for unit 200. Now let's see the difference between implicit claim and explicit claim. So I create a new zone in both sites and then save and unclaim. Now if I try to rename the zone I created in the implicit database, you can see that I can rename it with no problem. But if I try to rename the zone in the explicit claim database, I face an error that the element must be claimed before the database can be updated. And to change the name of the zone, I first need to manually claim it, and then I am able to rename the zone. Let's also check the files created in the project folder for the databases we have created. You can check the file name of a database using the qdb file command. Now let's open the project folder, and in the 000 folder you can see that several new files are added to this folder, which are for the databases we have created. There are also three other files in this folder that are used by the admin module, and the data for the usernames, passwords, and the list of databases and MDBs are stored in this file. Let's check another thing in the modeling software. You can see that in the modeling software, if I try to go to piping module, nothing happens because we don't have any piping catalog in our databases. I still can use other modules that doesn't depend on the catalog. For example, I can go to equipments module and create equipments and primitives, but I'm unable to open the piping module. In the next video, you will learn how to import databases from other projects, and we will import catalog databases from AVEVA sample project.